them, and Nigeria will continue to exist after them. Men that do not have dignity and honor in the political space. But he forgets that we've had other people in this political space, and they are not going to be the first, and they will not be the last. Men that have no capacity. You see, Nigerian politics has now been so reduced to mediocrity that a politician thinking doing road is the El Dorado. You want to call us up 0907-651-1008. And a politician thinking, please, can you mute what is going on there? A politician thinking is doing road is the El Dorado. And you wonder, what kind of society do we live in? How can doing road be the El Dorado? And you see these politicians, they are so concerned about money and what they can gain. What they can gain in a society where people are suffering. What they can gain in a society where people are hopeless. All right? And it's constantly all about them. And you see a society that has no honor, and the politician thinks everything is all about them. Very soon, that society will fail in its principal responsibility to inspire the next generation. And that's what's happening to Nigeria today. As a nation, we are beginning to fail in our principal responsibility to inspire the next generation. And if we can't inspire the next generation, we can never build this one properly. And that's why today, a politician uses government money. A politician uses government money to build road, and he thinks we should all be celebrating him because he used government money to build road. Everybody now, our country has now become so sad. Everybody now, anytime you do good in society, they think you want to do politics. I remember when I launched my foundation and I built a healthcare center in the village. A lot of people came to meet me in my village and was asking that if I want to do politics, they will give me support. And they were very embarrassed when I told them that I just want to help lives. I don't care about politics. Because they couldn't understand why a man will come and build a healthcare center, health outreach center, and a library and start organizing debate programs if he doesn't want to do politics. And I asked them, so is doing good now tied to politics? If you know my story, from the airport, and a woman came and said, Rufai, you were doing a Christmas bonanza and you gave us 10,000 naira. That it wasn't that the 10,000 naira was a big deal, but it was what happened to me that period. I felt love because I had just lost my husband. This incident happened to me over 10 years ago. So we get funding and we give it to people on the radio. So I've always been doing that, and the evidence are there. If you listen to Inspiration FM, you know. So the truth has to be said. We have not built a society where people cannot just do good without people attaching it to politics. Dr. Christopher Kolade did a lot of good, and he didn't need to attach it to politics. After being high and mighty, after being chairman of Cadbury, Dr. Christopher Kolade went back to teach at the Lagos Business School to share his experience. You see, we have politicians that can't even go back and share their experience and teach and inspire the next generation because they feel their life should always be about getting into office. But life is more than that. Life is more than just getting into office. Life is about inspiring the next generation. That's why I tell everybody, please, if it's a school around you, when you get the chance, go and teach them. I do it a lot. There's even a platform called Teach for Nigeria, where you can go and register and to be a free teacher. There are many government schools that don't have people to teach them. So these are the things I preach on my platform. But when people think they can silence me for preaching all these truths on my Facebook and the likes, they are failing. Because at the same time, we are multiple. If you go and check YouTube, we are there. VOP, 90.3 FM on YouTube, we are there. Twitter, we are there. Instagram, we are there. As we speak on Twitter, over 1,000 people are watching. We are there. Facebook, yes, the new Facebook account, go and follow it. Over 11 people viewing public. We are there. We'll grow it. So if they want to block the page, I have over 500,000 followers. We have one that have 23,000 followers. They will build it up to over millions of followers. Because this message, you can't stop. And will give more opportunities to people. I'm forming somebody's on my tribe, I must vote for them. And their lives are worse off than it was before. And when we tell them the truth, they will abuse us, they will do all sorts of things. But you can't stop a moving train. You can't stop a moving train of impact. All I'm saying on all this my platform is do good, make society better, do charity. Earlier this year, people, charity, bring when people come to you to preach tribal bigotry and religious bigotry 80 years ago, about 1932 or 33 or thereabouts. I'll go and check the date on the mosque because it was written on the mosque. See, I'm a Christian, but that mosque is my responsibility. During fasting, we gave them fruits in the mosque for people to eat during fasting. I will never allow anything happen to that mosque. If anything is wrong with that, I will donate to that mosque because I see that mosque as my family heritage. Does it stop me from being a Christian? It doesn't stop me. So people that preach religious division is the height of stupidity. Does it stop me from being a Christian? Because I'm taking care of what I call a family heritage mosque. My father was banned in that mosque as a Balogun Adini. So why are people dividing each other? That my father that was banned in that mosque, he died a Christian in the end. People's religion and their personal conviction, it should not cause chaos. Yorubas the Ija offensive. But when people start to divide you because of religion, you know they have agenda. And the agenda is never pro-development. Isn't it a shame on our political class? Look at them. Big shame. A country this blessed, you can't do a lot of infrastructure. The roads are bad. Somebody sent me a message. In fact, let me read the message about, I think it's Enugu Road. The hearing, I'll read the message. Why are you fighting the minister? Let me read the message somebody sent me. This person is a government official. The hearing what she said. See, he said, I saw your interview training with the Minister of Works. If you are interested in a real story of how LFG is not doing well, please send your camera crew to Enugu Onisha Express Road. You will be shocked. They abandoned this road for 24 years. It's sad. These are the people who speak for. This person works in government. I get a lot of people that work in government that say, Rufai, I'm not part of all of this that is happening. Politicians are so concerned about sharing 36 billion yearly budgets when they should be impacting people. Go and look at Tata Foundation. Tata Foundation has over 100 billion endowment. And that's why I say it is the height of hypocrisy to think doing evil will make you go anywhere. It is the height of hypocrisy to think doing evil will make you go anywhere. That's why we should build models like Dr. Christopher Kolade. He kept on giving till he died. The phone number is to call 0907 the other phone number to call is 0818 Look at it now. 9Mobile, before I heard they've changed their name. After not giving me network for many months, all of a sudden, I didn't even see network on my line again. So you can call that 9Mobile on WhatsApp. So you can see the society we've built. Society of mockery, society of hypocrisy, society of lies. When there are models like Dr. Christopher Kolade, he went back to teach at the Lagos Business School after I got to the position of being higher right in society. What society are we building? Do we want to build a society of ignorance, a society of chaos, or want to build a society that will stand the test of time? TikTok people are complaining that I should put TikTok too. Okay. I will try and see if I can put TikTok so that TikTok people too can watch. So what society are we building? The way we can build this nation is to build a nation based on conviction. Do right for the people. That's all I'm asking. Do right for the people. There is nothing that we want that God has not given us to succeed. But we just need leaders that can manage resource properly. And when they manage the resource properly, lives will become a lot better. Just 1 minute, please. I want to get TikTok people on up and running. Just 1 minute, please. Please give me some time. Okay. So we just need to get accountability up and running. When we get accountability up and running, lives will become a lot better. But if you don't do right, how can lives become better? Lives will never become better. A lot of people will live their lives on a slippery slope of disaster, of pain, of penury. So why are we deceiving ourselves and we think the grace of God will abound when we are not doing what we have to do? The grace of God will not abound in a life of deceit. The grace of God will only abound in a life of integrity. That's why we should build models. Models like Christopher Kolade. When Christopher Kolade was head of Cadbury, a Nigerian multinational, there was no talk of him stealing money. There was no talk of him stealing money. He didn't have to amass wealth that is 4 or 5 generations will not finish. The thing people like Christopher Kolade had was goodwill, good name. Good name is better than anything in the world. Good name. How many people have good name? See, if you have good name as a politician, you don't need media propaganda. You don't need lies. You think we don't know how you lie, how you want borrow post with projects. You will carry one project, you will lie that is your own. We know how some politicians, some senators used to go and beg contractors that, see, let me come and snap with this project so that it will look good. I will look good so that me too can shine. Why don't you do well for people? Why don't you use your resource to do well for people? Why don't you use your resource to do well for people? Next year now, I'm planning on a lot of things. We want to ramp up our AI training in the next 5 years to about 100,000 people registering. Next year now, we'll start the relaunch of the pages so you can go and register. What I'm also doing, I'm also talking to international agencies how we can now fit Nigerian graduates in work. That's my next plan. How you can fit them in remote work so that end-to-end will get opportunity for them. That's what I want to do with gender now. In fact, you are saying, can we talk to the world so that after we train them on these tech platforms, they can go and work. You see, it's a digital age. There's a lot of remote work going on. That's the kind of legacy people like Dr. Christopher Kolade lives in all of us. Legacy of integrity and thinking of the next generation. Anytime then, when he was alive, if you are a young startup and you had an event, Dr. Christopher Kolade will come there and support you. See, all this good I'm doing, I don't need to be a politician. I did it before I started doing political. You see, when people act like my life started when I got on a rise, I look at the hypocrisy. I worked on, what's it called? I've been in media for over 20 years. Even from my days in GFM in Warri, I set up GFM Football Fan Club when we were using to empower football fans. I used to present sports. My colleague that I presented sports with there is now a professor in Delta, Professor Priestley Obukadata. You can go and ask him. He's a professor at Delta State University. He's a professor of media today. We set up GFM Sports Fan Club for football fans to come together, then to also help each other. Then in Lagos alone, we do a lot of charity programs on the radio when I was in Inspiration FM before I came to co-found VOP. And my plan is to help expand many health platforms to a lot of people. So when you're asking me, do you want to do politics? Helping people, should it be political? What was political about somebody sending me a message on Instagram that they have cancer? And we help them raise millions. Now, my prayer is that the cancer should go in remission. In fact, I have not seen the person that I will raise millions for with a doctor to treat his cancer. I don't need to. Anytime he calls me, I say, my brother, the greatest gift you can give me is for your cancer to be healed. I want you to call me one day and say, cancer gone. I say, Sefini Laba, so that you can go and start your life. Somebody say, are you serious? I work with GFM. Who is R to the U to the FAI? Rufai define on GFM. It's not change. And in fact, my next project. My next project is how can we bring GFM back to life so that I can benefit the people of Delta. I'm trying to work with investors. I don't have the capacity. So I am thinking of opening opportunities. I'm thinking of opening opportunities for people. It doesn't have to be political to help people to save lives. God will give you life for a reason. Can you impact them? Can you make them better? That's the question. Because see, for every person that meets you, and these are the tenets people like Dr. Christopher Kolade taught us, for every person that meets you in life, they met you for a reason. Can you make their lives better? And the true test of you making their lives better is when you are able to upgrade somebody's life and they thank God that you are alive. See, there are some people that if they die today, nobody will feel their impact. But if you upgrade people's life and they thank God that you are alive, their life will be all a lot better. My brother, yes, I'm working at it. I've not just gotten the right investment. In fact, because when we set up GFM, when GFM was set up then, we had 2 stations. We had GFM in Asaba, which the state government shut down that time because it was interfering with the airwaves of the state-owned radio. I don't just want to bring back GFM Warri. I also want to bring back GFM Asaba. So that's going to be up and running because that's the mandate my boss, Chief Oge, gave me when he's lying in bed. I pray God should give me the capacity to do it. So there are a lot of things attached to me. If we set up DFM now in Delta States again, it's not for the benefit of people. It's not Deltans that will work there. We did not create job and opportunity for people and advertisers. So that's the kind of life we should live. And that's the kind of life Dr. Christopher Kolade will let us live. Has shown us the way to live. Today, for the fact that since he died, we are not even celebrating him enough in death, shows that we have derailed as a nation, because these are national icons. And that's why I dedicate this show today to the memory of Dr. Christopher Kolade. Because these are men that have a lot of integrity. These are men of men. These are men of men. Life impact. Life impact. Who is calling your video call? Don't call me a video. I'll not take your call on video call. Don't call me a video call. Don't call me a video call. Just call me normally. I'll take calls now. Life of impact. Life of impact. And that's what we live on. So all the things I've said today, emulate the life of people like Dr. Kolade. I want to read more about it or ask people about it. Then call us up 0907-651-1008. Go and find something to do. Don't just complain, I don't have anything to do. We'll give you some opportunities, but you go and create more yourself. That's the kind of impact we want to create. That's the kind of impact we're using VOP to create. Renewal of mind. Renaissance of mind. So 0907-651-1008. 0907-651-1008. And then 0818-099-1991. Those are the phone lines to get us up on this Monday. We will take all of your calls and all of your messages, and we have insights. We will not be deterred. Like I said, guys, we'll still try to get our Facebook back. We are trying, and if you have clues, also help us. We'll broadcast on many platforms. We will not be deterred. Yes, a lot of people have been sending me, Rufai, so sexual content on Facebook. That's not me. It's hackers. They hacked my page. And they are posting that sexual content so that Facebook will not take down that page. That's what they want to do. But we know. Please just call us on the phone and let's talk, the one we can talk, and let's connect across other platform. That's what they want to do. They want to take down that page. It just shows that that page is too much on that page, and they can't stop the impact we make. Hello, how are you? Good morning, sir. Morning, yes, ma. Lord, praise the Lord. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Talk to you. God has used your platform after my prayer. I'm just on contact for the one has been calling you for eye surgery. For eye surgery, yes. Somebody has given you a last Sunday. Yes. After the program, you begged on my behalf, you pleaded on my behalf. Immediately that 9 o'clock to 10 was over. The brother called me by the name Amadi. Amadi Uchechuku Daniel. He told me that he had my problem over Rufai's platform. I said yes. So within 5 minutes, this brother spent 300,000 for that surgery to me. God be praised. So please I thank God for this platform. We give God. No, madam. Madam, please do not thank me. If I didn't yield my platform, God will still do his work. Give all the glory to God. I have no capacity to receive glory. But I'm going to do your surgery and call us that your eyes well. That's my priority.
Yes,
Bless you.
on Monday. They give me appointment on this next Monday, 27th.
It is well. It is God.
I'll be going
It is God that you should give all the glory, not me. I have no capacity to take glory. Please. Yes, please. Please. And stop giving me glory and thanks. No, 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 no. It's God you should give all the glory to. It's not me. I don't have that capacity to be taking glory that doesn't belong to me. Am I the one that did it? No, it's God. Hello, how are you? Bless you.
Yes, sir. My name is Tayo.
Th-
Calling from
Great to have you, Tayo.
Yes, sir. Tayo, calling from
Okay, Tayo, go ahead.
I do hear your program every, I think it's every day, but they normally call you on the as in like an interview on that like YouTube platform, but not knowing that you normally have a program.
So I do the program on Sunday, but I do the newspaper analysis every weekday. Yeah.
Every week, yes. So I just when we were really talking about something to do about maybe helping people or stuff like that. Fine. Everybody needs help, including I too like this because I have what I'm doing, but I just really need support. The support I need, even though if you truly use Marwa or Kurupe or this cycle, just using that to carry because I have customers that normally.
No, so how much are you going to be giving the person? Nothing is free because people need help does not mean people just give it to them. You must think of a business plan. So if somebody gives you pay now, how much are you going to be delivering to them?
Yes, like as I was saying, I said I have customer I normally supply water from. But what normally they do is that because I don't have a good push the market around.
So how much will you give the person that gives you any pay now?
Sir?
How much will you be giving the person or delivering to the person?
It depends on the. I can be maybe every week. I can be giving the person 50,000 every week.
50,000 every week. Okay. You never know. Somebody might be listening.
Yes.
So your number is 0816 377 0201.
Yes.
Okay.
Or I can give.
No. I deal with only one number. Don't confuse me. 0816 337 0201. Thank you. So, like I said, emulate the life of people like Christopher Kolade, doctor. That's just it. A lot of people on YouTube, I see you. Tracy, I see you. DMO, I see you. A lot of people there, I see you. This program is going to go on many radio platforms across the nation, across Lagos, and across the world. Hello, how are you?
Hello, good morning, sir.
Morning, great to have you. What's your name?
My name is Bolame Pelisa.
Where are you calling from? Speak up.
I'm calling from Ekiti.
Ekiti, where in Ekiti?
Ekiti.
Kila, what you say? You see, Ekiti, Kete, Kila. Ido Ekiti. Go ahead, my brother.
Yes, I was listening to your program this morning and it caught my attention. So, I've been joining the space, but I've not been stable on it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So, the reason why I called you that, I'm an, should I say, aspiring OEP.
Okay.
Because I work at a radio station.
Okay.
So, there was a time I did a program on my show every Saturday. The show is all about entertainment. But we talk about educational stuff sometimes. So there was this SS3, SS3, and SS2 students that called on my show. So I asked them, who is the senator of Nigeria? Do you believe no one could answer the question? Even people that are graduates. No one could answer the question. So I later talked about what from the teacher or from the parents. I asked the students, I asked them, is it that they don't teach you in school or you don't know? He was telling that they don't even teach them in school. I asked them, do you have the current affairs and notebook? Yeah, he told me you don't even know anything about the current affairs. So
Mm.
I was should I say like great like when I was
So my brother, you know what you're gonna do now for me? Let's start
okay,
a state quiz program on your radio show. So every
yeah,
day,
yeah.
when you go
I was
after,
I was I was even going to that because I talked about this the 2 Saturdays ago that I'll be starting something like maybe the make something like quiz or spelling bee
yeah,
or
so you start a quiz, you start a
yeah,
spelling bee, all right? You start a quiz,
yeah.
start a spelling bee. I would like to give, you can send me messages and send me a message now. I would like to
Oh,
give the first prize money of that quiz and spelling bee. What's the name of your radio station?
Adaminobu.
Adamimogo. Adamimogo is my family. Your general manager in Lagos works for me, works with me, is my friend and brother, Samuel Olugbemini. So don't worry. Don't worry. It's an Arale. So I will talk to, send me a message. I'll talk to Samuel. I will put a recharge card token forward of something small, maybe 2,000, just to as prize money for the quiz competition. All right, for one of the winners to encourage you, so that we start from there. Hmm?
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Yes, very good. So let's start from there. So you know you have so much power to change the mindset of that area because you are on
Yes,
radio. That's the power media gives you. So rather than talking that, yeah, you can talk entertainment a little bit, but now start the quiz and you will see it gradually build up.
yes,
It is well. Please
yes,
be
sir. Thank
encouraged.
you, sir.
So send me those details. I will send you my little 2,000 widows might use to buy a recharge card for them and
No,
everything.
no,
Uh,
no, no,
so let's bring literacy back to radio and media platforms. It is
thank you
well.
very much, sir.
It is well. Yes, yes. Bless you. Bless you, bless you, bless you. So, oh, I'm getting another call here. Oh, hello, how are you? Where are you calling from?
Hello, good morning.
Morning, where are you calling from?
Good morning. Hey,
Where are you calling
okay,
from?
I'm calling from Thailand now.
From Ireland.
Thailand,
Thailand.
Thailand,
Go ahead, talk to me.
Thailand, Bangkok.
Yeah.
Okay. Rufai, you see, um, it's unfortunate that the country has been the way it is, right? And nobody dare talk again. If you talk, they ask you, how dare you talk? How dare you complain? Who are you to complain? Who are you to talk? Right? That is the country we are in now. Um,
Mm.
in Enugu State, Rufai, since this postal road started, in Enugu State, if you leave from PSC roundabout down to Presidential Road, before you get to what they call it, ID Bank, immediately you leave PSC roundabout towards your road by the right hand, you
Mm.
will see one gigantic hotel that since this coastal road started, that was when this hotel started. And it's even that owns that hotel. And the hotel is being built. In fact, it's the biggest hotel in Enugu. And you dare not talk. If you talk, you're a problem. This is the kind of country we are living in. No accountability. And when you ask for accountability, you become a suspect. Nigeria has been a country that anybody can do anything you want to do and get away with it.
Mm.
That is the country we are living in. And poverty has been weaponized to a point that when you talk, you see hungry talks that maybe after 4 years they will come and dash them 5,000. You will see them coming out to ask you, how dare you talk?
Mm.
This is the country we are living in. People like you, if you have people like you that believe that you can save somebody out of poverty without having to any political interest in life, Nigeria would be a very good place for all of us. And you know what's part of this is that these people put their children to be in a line to follow them up. Look at them, all of them. Go and look at their children. They have shaped them very well to a point that once they are leaving, their children is taking over from them. They don't care about you and an average man. No. What they care about is to give us guns and dogs to go and do placards and give us more change. When your children are in Harvard, schooling good school, meeting good people, giving them good life, then you and I are going to go to the street for protest. That is the country we are living in. So what am I trying to say? We should stop celebrating mediocrity in this country. We should stop it.
Thank you so much.
These people are taking us for granted.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Let me take other callers.
I wish so much.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate you, my brother. Hello, how are you? Yeah. What's your name? Where are you calling from? No, the line is not clear. I'll let it go. 0907-651-1008 and on WhatsApp 0818-099-1991. We thank God today that at least we'll be able to use this show to solve problems. I defect by a woman that had been calling on this show for a while. God has done it. People came through. We give all the glory to God for that. And more empowerment. We'll keep using this our platform to be able to raise people and make them do a whole lot better in their lives. We'll take one or two calls. We'll have a powerful insight coming up by Person Mumba afterwards. So please go to this page. On this page where you can see me stream now on Facebook, for those on Facebook, there's another Rufai Oseni page that we've opened up, about 23,000 followers. So go follow that one while we try to recover that other one from the Marudas. Hello, how are you?
My name is Clement, sir.
Clement, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Mango, sir.
Good to have you.
Yes, sir. I would like to meet with you. I'm visually impaired, sir. I need to read.
I'm sorry, you have to do it on the air. So what is it about?
I want you to help me to navigate my way through because on the job I've done several years, I've played too long and
So what do you want now? What job have you done temporarily?
I have so quick to someone that I end up not getting what I Lagos for. That's one. And since I came back to Lagos, I'm trying to secure an accommodation.
So you're trying to secure an accommodation. Can you call out your number? So your number is 0703 776 8626. That's your number, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that number belongs to another visually impaired man and he's trying to figure out his life. Please, if you can help him, I beg you, let's reach out to people. All right? 0703 776 8626. But please, anybody that comes to you, let them know your full situation. So that they'll be able to help you out. That's all that matters to us here.
Okay, sir. The person right now is asking me to pay because at the time I told him I'll pay the state at the last asking out. So I'm going to get another accommodation. My money is not enough at all.
Okay, I tried to get another accommodation. Money is not enough. Okay, good. I mean, it has to be a long conversation. Anybody that's going to reach out to you, because it's not just about getting accommodation. The question is, you have to be profitable. You have to be doing something. So it's holistic empowerment. That's what your life has to go on now. Holistic empowerment. Holistic empowerment. All right. But being visually impaired, have you gone to the School of the Blind? Do you have navigation skills?
Yes, I'm doing one account. Learning how to use the computer and all that.
Okay. Yeah. Bless you so much. No, it's well. Give all the glory to God. So, okay. So that's about it today. Oh, one other call is coming in. Let's see if we can take this quickly. Okay. Hello, how are you? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello,
Hello, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
this is Anastasia on the line.
Okay. Oga, please just hold on a bit. Anastasia and the line. Anastasia, where are you calling from? I have to hold on somebody for you. So speak quickly.
Oh, I understand. I'm calling from Ikorodu.
Okay. Anastasia, so go ahead.
All right. I just want to say hello and then to appreciate you for you do and insisting on creating a better government, especially with our politicians.
Bless you.
So much.
Bless you. Thank you so much, Anastasia. God bless you. Oh, yeah. What's your name? What's your name? Yeah. Okay, I can't remember it, but go ahead. Yeah.
You are showing the video anytime you want to do your news, anytime you want to ask it.
Which news is that?
On Labour Party candidate in 2022 election, House of Assembly, also the son of contest too.
Okay, so what's the problem now?
I just want to thank you for the job you are doing.
Okay, bless
I
you.
also want to support in this great work you are doing. Nigerians are proud of you.
Don't worry. You know a PDP candidate, a PDP person called me many months ago and said, Rufai, I want to support you. No, no, no. Politicians, just leave it aside. Don't worry. Hmm? Thank you. I know. As long as you have political leaning, just let's leave it aside. Because when the PDP person called, that was what I told the person too. So let's just maintain neutrality. Thank you. I appreciate you. God bless you. Amen.
We are proud of you across party lines, across languages, across tribes.
God bless you.
Reasoning is proud of you. If I keep doing it,
God bless you.
some will celebrate you.
God bless you.
Your children will use their name to become greater than you because you have done what people who are intended to do did not do. God have used you to put smiles in the faces of Nigerians in this period of unreasonable governance. You have done well. God will continue to bless you.
Amen. Bless you. Bless you. Bless you.
Thank you very much.
Bless you. Bless you. Bless you. Bless you. I just saw a message now that was sent to me in 2022. I think around when I lost my father. Says, drop by to check. How is your heart? May your heart find comfort in the memories you shared with you, your dad, and mom. Because a lot of people don't know I'm a full off, and my papa's gone, my mama's gone. May you find consolation in the passing of time. Mekpele, we pray for you, long lasting consolation. Cry it out when the reality of the absence hits you. Don't let anyone teach you how to bury your dad. Cry means because you miss him so much. The Holy Spirit is your greatest comforter. I really appreciate this message. I just saw it. I mean, it's part of the message that way long sent to my box. So our work of impact continues every Sunday. I tell somebody about it. 9 o'clock every Sunday. And the second part, we have the first part of the show, which is the first hour. The second hour, we normally play inspiring words by many great speakers. And I want to start playing a series on my very good friend, maybe because she's my very good friend, and I adore her so much. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I'm happy to call her my very good friend, and I'm happy to hang out with her children, and be the big uncle. So I'm going to be playing some of her speeches, so you can watch that on our YouTube page. And if you are listening on terrestrial radio, 903 90.3 FM. And join me tomorrow morning from the 7 o'clock hour where we get a chance, to analyze politics. So I'm here Monday through Friday, analyzing politics on VOP. Then on Sundays like this, we have an impactful time on the radio where we help a lot of lives. I pray as you go this week, God will bless you. We give all the glory to God because He deserves it. And please tell people about it, to follow this Facebook page where you are seeing me from, and also share with others. while we try to get the other one back. I'm not going to be deterred. I'm not going to be ruffled because people hacked into my page. I saw it coming. I mean, they're going to attack me at some point, but it's fine. As long as I keep doing my work and doing my work of impact, that's all that matters. Bless you. I love each and every one of you. God bless you. God will continue to lift and uphold you. And you are just next in line for a great miracle by God. Amen. Bless you. I appreciate you.
Pray silence for the Right Worshipful, the Lord Mayor Locum Tenens, Alderman the Lord Levine of Port Socal.
Your Excellencies, my Lords, ladies and gentlemen, it's a very great pleasure to welcome you all to Guildhall this evening, where we in the City of London are very proud to host this, the 15th Commonwealth Lecture. The Lord Mayor is very sorry not to be with you himself tonight. He's on a business mission to our Commonwealth partners in Australia and New Zealand. And I know that he would want me to thank the Commonwealth Foundation for all its work in organising this evening's event. The Commonwealth is an extraordinary 2 billion strong family of peoples and nations, bound together by a shared commitment to democracy, good governance, respect for human rights, the eradication of poverty, and sustainable development. All values which events right across the world show we must continue to cherish and to promote. But the Commonwealth is also bound together by a single figure, Her Majesty the Queen, whose Diamond Jubilee we celebrate this year. Her Majesty's life has been one of service and duty, respected by all, a life committed to connecting the diverse peoples of the Commonwealth together. So it's entirely fitting that Commonwealth Observance Day this year marks the start of the Diamond Jubilee celebrations, opened by the UK's largest multi-faith celebration at Westminster Abbey, attended by Her Majesty. And it is just as fitting that the Commonwealth theme for this very special year and our lecture this evening should be that of connecting cultures. We share a great deal, but we celebrate our difference and how much we can learn from our rich diversity. The City of London offers services that will be critical in creating jobs and growth at home and abroad. The City also has a very strong commitment to the arts, not least as one of the largest funders and supporters of the arts in this country. From the Barbican Centre to the museums we support here in the City and right across London. So we're delighted this evening to welcome the Commonwealth Secretary-General, His Excellency Mr. Kamalesh Sharma, Guildhall this evening, who of course is no stranger to us here at all, as well as our lecturer, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Her novels and short stories have made a huge impact. Facts and figures tell one part of her story, but her work contains the holy grail for all writers, what one critic called emotional truth, showing us the feelings and the dramas of individuals caught up in terrible historic events, confronting us with the human consequences of real events, all done with empathy and grace. Her fellow writer, Chinua Achebe, said, "We do not usually associate wisdom with beginners, but she is a writer endowed with the gift of ancient storytellers." I'm sure that you're all looking forward to a special lecture as part of a very special year. And I would now like to hand over to Simone de Commermond, the chair of the Commonwealth Foundation. Thank you very much.
My Lord Mayor, Secretary General Mr. Sharma, Mrs. Sharma, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. The Commonwealth Lecture is organized by the Commonwealth Foundation in partnership with the Commonwealth Secretariat, the Cambridge Commonwealth Trust, the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, the Royal Commonwealth Society, and the Royal Overseas League. Connecting Cultures is the Commonwealth theme for 2012. It celebrates the diverse mix of people across the Commonwealth, united by shared values and vision. Together, these 54 nations represent over 2 billion people of differing beliefs and traditions, with cultural expression a vibrant means of identity and exchange. The Commonwealth Foundation is the Commonwealth agency which has been entrusted by heads of governments to take care of the culture portfolio, amongst other activities, of course. We recognize that culture is an essential pillar of development. Culture is the soul of our society and an expression of the human spirit. It is intrinsically linked to the fabric of the Commonwealth. Our culture program aims to give less heard voices an opportunity to share their stories. Targeted initiatives develop and support cultural practitioners to challenge and explore issues that affect civil society at every level. And in the year of Connecting Cultures, we have relaunched the Commonwealth Writers' Prize, won by our speaker in 2005, in the form of Commonwealth Writers, a new global initiative which finds and develops new writers of fiction. In 2011, Commonwealth heads mandated a relaunch of the Commonwealth Foundation so that it can more effectively strengthen and mobilize civil society in support of Commonwealth principles and priorities. Looking ahead, I see a bright future for the Commonwealth Foundation, and I am delighted to formally welcome Vijay Krishna Narayan as the new director and wish him every success in his new role. I would also like to take this opportunity to offer our most sincere thanks on behalf of all at the Commonwealth Foundation to Danny Sriskandaraja, for the remarkable leadership in his capacity as interim director over the last 12 months. Thank you so much, Danny. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie was born in Nigeria in 1977. Her first novel, Purple Hibiscus, won the Commonwealth Writers' Prize Best First Book in 2005 and garnered widespread critical acclaim. Her second novel, Half of a Yellow Sun, won the Orange Prize for Fiction in 2007. She was named one of the 20 most important fiction writers today under 40 years old by The New Yorker. She is a trustee of the Farafina Trust, a highly successful initiative in Nigeria to promote reading, writing, and a culture of social introspection and an engagement through the literary arts. She is an ambassador for the Commonwealth Foundation's Commonwealth Writers Program. It is my pleasure, therefore, to ask you, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome our speaker to the 15th Commonwealth Lecture, Mrs. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good evening. A few weeks ago, my dear friend Martin Kenyon, who is seated in front, telephoned me and left a message in which he sounded quite alarmed because he had just heard that I had been asked to give the Commonwealth lecture. What Martin did not know was that I was just as alarmed as he was. And so I feel a little bit like a pretender to the throne, standing here before you in this gorgeous space. But I am deeply honored, and I thank the Commonwealth Foundation for inviting me. And I thank you all for being here. I would like to start by talking about bagels. When I was growing up in Nsukka, the university town in southeastern Nigeria, books were the center of my world. I started reading when I was perhaps 4 years old, and I read everything I could find. One day, I read an American novel in which a character ate something called a bagel for breakfast. I had no idea what a bagel was, but I thought it sounded very elegant, very exotic. I pronounced it bagel. I desperately wanted to have a bagel. My family visited the United States for the first time when I was 9, and at the airport in New York, I told my mother that as a matter of the gravest urgency, we had to buy a bagel. And so she went to a cafe and bought one. Finally, I would have a bagel. You can imagine my disappointed surprise when I discovered that this bagel, this glorious bagel from the novel, was only just a dense donut. Still, even though a bagel ended up not being some sort of exquisite confection, the moments in which I thought it was were well worth it, because my imagination soared in delight. And there was something comforting and instructive in that discovery of a bagel, in the demystifying ordinariness of a bagel. Other people like me ate boring food. I have since, by the way, come to enjoy a toasted bagel with cream cheese. But I wanted to use this anecdote not only to illustrate the wondrous ability of books to enlarge our imaginations, but also as a starting point to make a case for the kind of literature that I was drawn to and that I continue to be drawn to as a reader and as a writer. I have been writing since I was old enough to spell, My writing, when it is going well, gives me what I like to describe as extravagant joy. And when it is not going well, is a source of great depression and anxiety. I write because I have to. I write because I love the solitude of writing. Because I love the near mystical sense of creating characters who sometimes speak to me. Because I love the possibility of touching another human being with my work. Because I spend a large amount of time in the spaces between the imaginary and the concrete. Writing, we are often told, is a solitary endeavor, and it is. It is also intensely idiosyncratic. Each time I read of or hear about a writer's elaborate writing ritual, I am immediately tempted to claim an equally elaborate ritual of my own. To claim that I light red candles, or hold improbable yoga positions, or recite an Igbo chant, or fall into a brief trance before I actually begin to write. But although my ritual is in truth significantly less colorful than what I wish it were, it does exist, as I suspect it does for every writer. There is an Igbo proverb that says, "Onye na-akwa nka na-adu iru," which translates loosely to, "A sculptor always works with a frown." This suggests that the sculptor, and by extension the artist, the writer, the creative person, walks in a state of the utmost seriousness and rigor, because her vocation, her calling, is not entirely in her control. She is a conduit of sorts, communing with something larger than herself, hence the frown. Now, I don't walk with a frown, at least not all the time, but I do think of my writing as both magic and craft. It is a whispering from the spirits, an inexplicable gift I have been blessed with. And it is also a steely determination to sit down for hours and write and rewrite until the muscles of my neck and shoulders tighten in painful revolt. My family and I often joke about how, when I am home and all is quiet and all distraction turned off, and I'm supposed to be writing, I am instead wandering around the house, from study to bedroom to kitchen and back again. Which brings to mind a wonderful quote from the American writer Don DeLillo. Writers go out of their way to secure their solitude, and then, having secured it, they go out of their way to squander it. But that wandering is itself part of the magic and craft process. And the hope is that at some point in the wandering, the literary spirits will intercede, the story or character will reveal itself, and I will then be able to sink into the hours of writing and rewriting, fully inhabiting an intense inward space. But it is too simple to claim that writing is a private act, end of story. If it were so, I would write in a diary and put it away in a drawer. An audience, or the possibility of an audience, moves writing from a private to a public space. I have often been asked who my audience is, who I write for. And the most honest answer is that I really do not know, because I never consciously think of audience while writing fiction. I sometimes also wonder whether it ever occurred to Turgenev that a teenager in a small town in southeastern Nigeria might be part of the audience of Fathers and Sons, his novel about 1860s Russia, which I love. I don't suppose it did occur to him. Perhaps a more comprehensible answer to the question about who my audience is that I write the kind of fiction I like to read, and so I write for whoever enjoys the kind of fiction I enjoy. As a child, books about hobbits or flying saucers or alternative universes did not interest me. Perhaps because at some level I was always in awe of the vastness of the world, of the many places I was yet to learn about, of the millions of ordinary human stories yet untold, each one worthy, each one capable of truth and beauty. And so I was particularly drawn to books that I like to call realist literature, books populated by recognizably real human beings living in real places. Of course, one must use the word real with some reservation. The world of realist literature is not the same as the real world, but it is close enough, aligned enough to the real world to be able to illuminate it. And it is books of that sort that I would like to make a case for today. Books that have often brought to my mind the words of the ancient Latin poet Horace. The role of literature is to instruct and delight. Realist fiction is not merely the recording of the real, as it were. It is more than that. It seeks to infuse the real with meaning, which perhaps is why the artist walks with a frown. As events unfold in our lives, we do not always know what they mean. But in telling the story of what happened, meaning emerges, and we are able to make connections with emotive significance. Realist fiction is, above all, the process of turning fact into truth. I knew the basic facts of Nigerian history when I first read Chinua Achebe's novels, Things Fall Apart and Arrow of God. But it was those novels that made me realize that while I may very well know the facts, I did not really know the truths. Bloodless words like pacification and amalgamation and indirect rule were the facts. But the truths were in the human stories. A respected man being flogged publicly by agents of the colonial government. A priest, once resplendent in his pride and his stubbornness, now reduced to sitting on a cold prison floor because he had dared to reject an offer from a British district officer. And in images such as these, I learned a great truth which the history books said nothing about: the loss of dignity. One of my favorite novels is The Dark Child by Kamaralaye, a book of startling beauty, defiant optimism, and the most layered nostalgia. On recently rereading it, I was struck by a sentence in the introduction by the South African English writer William Plummer. Plummer wrote, "Laye introduces us to a society which appears entirely free of vulgarity." The assumption, of course, being that the society should have been vulgar. Now, this is a silly comment, if ever there was one, but if we are willing to overlook the silliness of it, we see that Plummer might have been knowledgeable about the so-called facts of what he calls tribal life. But it took this novel, this beautiful novel about a quiet childhood in the plains of Guinea, to make him see the truths. Most of us know the story of the philosopher Diogenes the Critic, who, carrying a lantern in daylight, walked up and down the streets of Athens and claimed that he was looking for an honest man. Scholars say that Diogenes did in fact carry a lantern around Athens' sunlit streets, but he did not say that he was looking for an honest man. What he said was that he was looking for humanity. Of course, the cynicism of his action is clear. The lantern in daylight tells us that he does not believe he will find this humanity. But it can also be interpreted as his refusal to take the idea of humanity for granted, because humanity is, in fact, something we must always keep searching for. To read realist literature is, I think, to search for humanity, as Diogenes did, but hopefully with much less cynicism. It is easy to assume that our collective humanity is self-evident, that we do not need to search for it. But we live in a time of numbers and facts, in a world where an acceptable response to the news of a death is to click the like button in Facebook. We live in a world where we can easily find information about GDP and infant mortality and life expectancy, but not about that which most motivates people, human desire. We live in a world where we so often quote figures of the number of the dead in Iraq and Afghanistan and Congo until they become just that, figures. Each time I read these news articles, I find myself thinking, what do they dream about in Congo? How do they fall in love in Afghanistan? How do they resolve family quarrels in Iraq? What do they like to eat? Of course, we must know about the dead and the dying. And of course, these figures and facts are essential. But they should coexist with human stories. We should know how people die, but we should also know how they live. When we read human stories, we become alive in bodies not our own. Literature is in many ways like faith. It is a leap of the imagination. Both reading and writing require an imaginative leap, and it is that imaginative leap that enables us to become alive in bodies not our own. It seems to me that we live in a world where it has become increasingly important to try and live in bodies not our own, to embrace empathy, to constantly be reminded that we share with everybody in every part of the world a common and equal humanity. But I must hasten to clarify that I am not suggesting that we are all the same. We most certainly are not. Many of us would be reluctant to live in a world in which everyone were the same. We would be suffocated by boredom. Literature is indeed about how we are different. The American writer John Updike, after reading Chinua Achebe's Arrow of God, wrote to Achebe to say that a Western writer would not have allowed the destruction of a character as rich as the protagonist, Ezulu. Perhaps what Updike had implicitly understood was that in Achebe's world, very different from the Western world depicted in the literature with which Updike was familiar, the preservation of the community mattered more than the preservation of the individual. Or, in the words of a character in the novel itself, an animal rubs its itching flank against a tree, but a man asks his kinsman to scratch him. This is part of realist literature's magic, that we are able to thrill to the magnificent diversity in the world. And so we read not to see how other people are like us, but simply to see them, to truly see them, what they love, what they resent, what wounds their pride, what they aspire to. Yet, part of that magic of realist literature is to remind us of how similar we are in the midst of our differences, to remind us that what we all share is the quest for value. To be human is to want to be valued. We want our bodies to be nourished, and we want our hearts to be nourished. And this is the humanity we must seek through stories. I fell in love with Sri Lanka after I read Romesh Gunesekera's beautiful novel, Reef, with its evocation of friendship, love, and politics in a country about to be torn apart by war. Recently, I visited Sri Lanka, and at the airport in Colombo, I saw a collection box which said something like, "Contribute money to help the soldiers." I was not quite sure which soldiers this fundraising was for, whether the government or the Tamil Elam, but it did not matter much to me because I put some money in the box anyway. And I dreamed in that small gesture of restoration, of healing, of a return to a country as it was depicted in the novel Reef. Perhaps this was a hopelessly sentimental act, but it filled me with a small delight, as did the country of Sri Lanka itself. It was not surprising to me that I fell in love with the country and with its people, who felt strangely familiar because I had encountered them in the pages of a beloved book. Books are immensely powerful, inherently powerful, a power that often transcends the creator of the book. I don't think that the writer of that American novel I read as a child had any idea that I would come to so lushly romanticize bagels. Nor do I think that bagels would have so completely captured my imagination if I had read of them in a newspaper article or anywhere else outside the pages of a novel. Ben Okri, the Nigerian writer, tells a story about his father who, after training as a lawyer in England, returned to Nigeria with a great collection of books, Homer, Tolstoy, Dostoevsky, which he didn't quite get around to reading. The books gathered dust, and from time to time, he would say to his son, "Ben, dust the books, but don't read them." This, of course, made the books even more attractive to Ben. And so, while dusting, he would read them. And if he heard his father's voice, he would hurriedly return to dusting. As an adult, Okri would recall this story and end with the words, "Books still have this tension for me, the do and don't, the possibility of danger, of secret knowledge. It makes them very potent." Of course, it is the content of a book that are truly potent. In Chinua Achebe's essay, Traveling White, he writes about a librarian who, at a lecture at the University of California, told him what Achebe described as a curious story. It was about a German judge named Wolfgang Ziedler. This distinguished judge, a president of the highest constitutional court in Germany, had just accepted an offer to move to Namibia and become a consultant to the Namibian regime. Then a friend gave him the novel Things Fall Apart. After he read it, he promptly and dramatically changed his mind. He would no longer move to Namibia because he could not lend his abilities to an apartheid system that dehumanized Africans. Achebe concludes this story by wondering why a man so accomplished needed a novel to make him see this. Did he not read the newspapers? But perhaps the German judge only knew the facts. And perhaps in reading Chinua Achebe's novel, he was taking a walk along the sunlit streets of Windhoek, holding a lantern. Logic can convince, but it is in fact emotion that leads us to act. Realist literature reminds us of this, that we are not a collection of logical bones and flesh, that we are emotional beings, that dignity and love matter as much as bread and water. The parts of us that we can measure and define are important, but the real influence, the real basis for connection comes from the parts of us that we cannot measure and define. I am a person who deeply loves two languages, Igbo and English. I love Igbo because it is mine, because it is the language of home and laughter and love. Growing up in Nigeria, it was English that had political and economic power, but I did not love it for that reason. I loved it because I was educated in English and because I read English books. When I went to the US to go to university, I met a number of international students from Jamaica, India, Kenya. And I soon realized that while we were very different, we did have something in common, something that the students from China or even Senegal did not. A certain way of being and doing, an almost intuitive way of understanding each other. And I would argue that it was not simply because our countries had been colonized by the British, not because we came from places where lawyers wore funny white wigs, but because we had from childhood read British books. We read Charles Dickens, and we read Enid Blyton. We read of cucumber sandwiches, and we read of ginger beer. And our imaginations were bound in a common familiarity. There was something in this discovery that moved me very much, although it also left me newly astonished at just how the British had managed to meddle in so many parts of the world. The African-American writer W.E.B. Du Bois once said that all art is propaganda. This is the kind of statement that is easy to disagree with because of the ideas we have about art and about propaganda, where the former is pure and the latter a deliberate spreading of often insidious information. But when we think about a more nuanced meaning of propaganda, then Du Bois becomes easier to agree with. Here's a quote from Du Bois. "All art is propaganda and ever must be, despite the wailing of the purists. I stand in utter shamelessness and say that whatever art I have for writing has been used always for propaganda, for gaining the right of black folk to love and enjoy. I do not care a damn for any art that is not used for propaganda, but I do care when propaganda is confined to one side while the other side is stripped and silent." Du Bois was speaking in the context of what he called Negro art, the art of Black Americans who were not allowed by the white establishment to write about certain subjects. But in a larger sense, perhaps Du Bois was saying that we cannot pretend that literature falls from the sky, unburdened by value or by history. The Senegalese poet and statesman, Senghor, once said, "I have always taken care to put an idea or emotion behind my words. I have made it a habit to be suspicious of the mere music of words." Of course, the music of words is important. It matters because it enhances meaning. There's no better way to sear an image onto our minds than with a well-written sentence. But literature is not just words. Literature is never just words. When I read Graham Greene and Virginia Woolf, I am being delighted and entertained, but I am also learning of a certain sensibility, a certain Englishness. And so, in a sense, to write realist fiction is an exercise in citizenship. It is strange to talk about creating and citizenship because we like to think of art as separate. That if anything, an artist and a creator, simply by creating, suddenly becomes a citizen of an imaginary land of artists. And this is in some ways true. But we also live in a world in which the nation state dominates, in which your value as a human being, the value that the formalized structures of the world gives you, can often be determined by what passport you carry. I would know as a person who travels on a Nigerian passport. Traveling with a Nigerian passport means carrying the weight of assumptions that I am likely to be lying or to be a drug dealer or a fraudster. The many expressions of disbelief when I say I am a writer. Being asked to step aside for more questions at airports. The extra processing steps required for visas to countries as diverse as Kenya and Denmark. I wish I could tell the various embassies that I, in fact, am a citizen of the world of artists. But of course, citizenship goes beyond a mere passport. It is a sensibility. While I have a great affection for America, and I live part-time in America, I know I can never be an American because I will never understand the game of baseball. And I know I'm Nigerian because I always root for the Nigerian football team during the World Cup. And I know I am African because as soon as the Nigerian team is kicked out of the World Cup, which invariably happens early on, I then begin to root fiercely for the other sub-Saharan African teams. More seriously, realist literature transmits this sensibility of citizenship, is steeped in this sensibility, both for the reader and the writer. Nelson Mandela described Chinua Achebe's novel Things Fall Apart as the book in whose presence the prison walls came down. I'm sure Mandela loved many other novels, but would he have felt this way about another book that was not African? Arguably not. For many Africans, Things Fall Apart was not merely an interesting and moving novel, it was also a gesture of returned dignity, because it was a complex and humane novel that came in the wake of a long but little varied tradition of books written by Europeans about Africa, books in which Africa was often portrayed as a place without history, without humanity, without hope. Chinua Achebe himself first read some of the better-known examples of these books as a secondary school student in southeastern Nigeria in the 1940s. He has written about his response to the African characters in those books, and here's an excerpt. I did not see myself as an African to begin with. I took sides with the white men against the savages. The white men were good and reasonable and intelligent and courageous. The savages, arrayed against them, were sinister and stupid, or at the most, cunning. I hated their guts. As Achebe matured and became more critical in his reading, he began to understand the enormous power that stories had and how much this power was shaped by who told the stories and by how they were told. As a university student in the 1950s, in addition to reading Wordsworth and Shakespeare and Coleridge, Achebe also read a novel called Mr. Johnson by the English writer Joyce Carey. It was set in Nigeria, and Time magazine had named it the best book ever written about Africa. Achebe disagreed. Not only was the Nigerian character in the novel unrecognizable to him and his classmates, but he also detected in the description of Nigerians what he described as an undertow of uncharitableness, a contagion of distaste, hatred, and mockery. Now, much has been written about Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart being a response to Mr. Johnson, but one likes to think that Achebe would have written his novel even if he had not read Carey's. Still, the portrayal of Africans in the books he read must have had an influence on him, must have spurred his literary spirits on. How could it not? When I first began to understand these portrayals of Africans in European literature, I was filled with that peculiar sense of defensiveness and vulnerability that comes with knowing that your story has been grossly mistold. So I turned to Chinua Achebe's novels. In the stark, sheer poetry of Things Fall Apart, in the humor and complexity of Arrow of God, I found a gentle reprimand. Don't you dare believe other people's stories of you. Would a book of reportage, an accumulation of facts, been able to do that? I think not. Our histories cling to us. The British historian Bertrand Russell once spoke about two little girls from Estonia who had narrowly escaped death from starvation in a famine and who had been brought to live with his family. They were fed very well and very regularly, but Russell was surprised to discover that they would sneak off to neighboring farms and steal potatoes and hoard them. Even though they were now in the midst of plenty, their hungry days had not left them. Our histories cling to us. We are shaped by where we come from. Our art is shaped by where we come from. The South African writer Sky Mfahlele writes that under apartheid, Black South African writers wrote mostly short stories because of the urgency of their political situation. Orhan Pamuk is able to create such beautiful explorations of Istanbul because it is where he grew up. And it is unlikely that I would have been so haunted by the Nigeria-Biafra War, which is the setting of my second novel, Half of a Yellow Sun, if I had not been born into an Igbo family that was deeply affected by the war. I am often asked where the inspiration for the novel came from, an almost impossible question to answer. It came from a desire to write about love and friendship and family and how war changes all of that. It came from a faded, beautiful photograph of my grandfather, David Adichie. It came from seeing tears in my mother's eyes as she told the story of her father's death in a refugee camp. It came from the novels of Flora Nwapa and Chukwuemeka Ike. It came from the smell of the dust in my hometown in Anambra State. And most of all, it came from a deep, haunting obsession that even now I cannot find the language to describe. When I was in graduate school in the United States, a professor said during a class discussion on colonialism in sub-Saharan Africa that the Africans whose lands had not been taken by the European colonizers had really lost nothing because their lands were still intact. At those words, something in me recoiled viscerally. I thought the professor was dangerously wrong to quantify the effects of colonialism and to reduce it to land. This is not to diminish the enormous practical and emotional significance of the loss of ancestral lands, but the truth is that the losses associated with any unjust government, and colonialism was an unjust dictatorship, cannot be limited to those things that we can measure. The losses are more nuanced: the loss of language and stories, the loss of a way of being and a way of thinking, the loss of dignity, and the loss that comes when succeeding generations inherit those losses. I sometimes wonder whether it might be a good idea to send a package of books of realist literature to every prime minister and president in the world, although the difficult part might be finding a way to make sure they actually read them. Perhaps it would make government policy take into account the parts of us that prove we are not merely a collection of logical bones and flesh. We should read human stories to be instructed and to be delighted, but also to remind ourselves that we are not alone, that we, in the words of Pablo Neruda, belong to this great mass of humanity, not to the few, but to the many. And finally, I would like to end with some words from Bessie Head, a brilliant feminist writer from South Africa who lived most of her life in Botswana. When she was asked the question, "Why do you write?" her response was this: "I am building a stairway to the stars. I have the authority to take the whole of mankind up there with me. That is why I write."
Pray silence for the Commonwealth Secretary-General, His Excellency Mr. Kamalesh Sharma.
Distinguished guests, I think you will all agree with me what a great privilege it has been to hear Chimamanda this evening. And what could be more appropriate than the fact that in this year, the theme of the Commonwealth is connecting cultures, because cultures are to be connected geographically, laterally, but also in time, and also in terms of experience. And many of the themes which she touched upon so gracefully and so sensitively resonate in the hearts and minds of all Commonwealth citizens. The act of creation itself, the effort of application that is required, the universality of the audience to which she refers, the theme of the loss of dignity and what it means to the silent and total destruction of a personality, the need for looking for humanity where you find it. And to quote from her, a common and equal humanity. The word common familiarity, which unites all of us. Global citizenship. All of these are themes which are not only appropriate for this year, for us, but are themes which have always been part and parcel of the third D, which we treasure so much in the Commonwealth. We used very much to the first two Ds of development and democracy, but one of the greatest gifts of the Commonwealth is, in fact, what it is already, which is diversity, and what it means to all of us to forge a common humanity and to speak about it. What I value most of all, Chimamanda, in you is the fact that you are young. The Commonwealth now is a society of young people. I've been to countries where to the question, how many people are here who are 29 or younger, I've been given the answer, about 70%. Our mental image of a country when we land at an airport is this is a country of adults with some young people in it. The truth is just the opposite. We are mostly landing in a country of young people, where adults like myself are in fact few and getting fewer all the time. So when we look to the future, we look to people like you, the wisdom which you bring in your youth, and the presence and the poise which you bring. And we feel encouraged and we feel ennobled and lifted by this possibility. Of course, we have heard Chimamanda before, we've heard her in the Abbey, but it has been a particular privilege to be able to hear her at such great length and to be so encouraged by what she has said. This is the Diamond Jubilee year. It's a very special year for us, and I think what we've heard has been a very special contribution in this year going forward. This brings to a close the Commonwealth Week this year. It began with a concert in the Barbican, also with an African soul. So if you like, the two ends of the week are both a kind of gift of the City Corporation, the Barbican, and now here. I would like very much to thank the Lord Mayor, Locum Tenens, Alderman the Lord Levine, the City of London Corporation, the City Remembrancer, Mr. Paul Double and his staff, particularly Hannah Ramney, Madam Simone Di Comamo, Vijay Krishnarayan and the Commonwealth Foundation staff, particularly Claire Turner and Emma da Costa, Mrs. Sally Shaby, and the Commonwealth Youth Orchestra, which we've had the privilege of hearing so many times during the Commonwealth Week, Arvindan, Pujantan, and Sita in anticipation, who will be performing South Indian classical music during the reception. And now I invite everyone to the reception in the old library, hosted by the City of London Corporation, for which we are immensely grateful. And I don't want to point to a random direction and mislead you, but it shouldn't be too difficult for you to find it. Thank you.